Getting fired sucks. It's rejection, embarrassment, and sudden unemployment all rolled into one terrible conversation with HR. Most people handle it with some combination of dignity, anger, and updating their LinkedIn profile. But these people? They turned job termination into performance art that HR departments still discuss in training seminars. Welcome to the Unemployment Hall of Fame, where professional bridges weren't just burned, they were napalmed. 1. Jake thought the best revenge was success, so he set up a folding table in his former employer's parking lot with a handmade sign reading, "Jake's Better Marketing." His business plan consisted of approaching coworkers during lunch breaks and explaining why their current employer was obviously inferior to his new outdoor enterprise. 3 days of parking lot entrepreneurship netted him 0 clients, several restraining orders, and a trespassing charge. But Jake remained convinced he was building the next Fortune 500 company, one confused employee at a time. 2. "I'm not fired, I'm just working remotely from the break room now," Maria announced to anyone who would listen. She'd been terminated on Monday and spent the rest of the week camping in the employee kitchen, attending meetings she wasn't invited to and sending emails signed, "Mariah, volunteer employee." Her former colleagues watched in fascination as she performed unpaid labor while insisting that denial was a valid employment status. 3. The entire IT department arrived Monday morning to find every computer playing circus music and displaying desktop backgrounds of Derek giving enthusiastic thumbs up. His farewell gift to the company included inspirational email signatures about friendship and loyalty automatically added to everyone's outgoing messages. Derek had spent his final weekend improving every workstation to demonstrate his value, creating a technological nightmare that took weeks to undo. 4. Patricia enrolled in law school before her final paycheck cleared, convinced she could study her way back to employment through the power of litigation. Her legal strategy involved filing 17 different lawsuits while representing herself with knowledge gleaned from Google searches and Judge Judy reruns. 2 years later, she'd failed out of law school and owed more in legal fees than she would have earned keeping her original job. 5. Senior consultant Kevin read the homemade badge that Kevin wore to meetings he was no longer authorized to attend. He'd promoted himself to external advisor and continued showing up daily, contributing to projects by following coworkers into conference rooms and billing for consulting services nobody had requested. Security eventually posted his photo at the front desk with instructions to call police, but Kevin kept sending invoices for months. 6. The food truck appeared outside the office building Tuesday morning, serving pink slip sandwiches and unemployment soup, while Lisa provided running commentary about management's poor decision-making through a bullhorn. Her mobile restaurant offered employee discounts for anyone willing to complain about their boss, while creating lunch entertainment that lasted until the city discovered she lacked proper permits. 7. Day 47 of documenting my wrongful termination, Robert announced to his 47 YouTube subscribers while performing interpretive dance outside the corporate headquarters. His channel featured daily videos of increasingly elaborate stunts designed to win back his job, including PowerPoint presentations delivered to empty parking lots and interviews with random pedestrians about employment justice. His monetization earnings peaked at 342s. 8. Sandra returned to work carrying certificates like a diploma collector at graduation, presenting completion awards for leadership seminars, communication workshops, and conflict resolution training as evidence that she was now qualified for her old job plus a promotion. Her continuing education campaign cost more than college tuition and resulted in her becoming the most credentialed unemployed person in the building's history. 9. Door-to-door petition gatherings seemed like the obvious solution to Tim, who spent weeks collecting signatures from neighbors who had no idea why they were supporting someone's employment status. His Rehire Tim campaign eventually gathered 200 signatures from confused residents who thought they were opposing tax increases or supporting local schools. Management was genuinely surprised when he presented community petition support as grounds for reinstatement. 10. Free tax preparation by Janet. Still your accountant. read the sign in the lobby where Janet had set up her volunteer booth during tax season. Her complimentary services attracted several takers before anyone realized that terminated employees can't legally prepare taxes, and her helpful calculations resulted in multiple audits and one IRS investigation that kept investigators busy for months. 11. 3 unpaid speaking engagements to confused Rotary Club members marked the peak of Mark's motivational speaking career. He decided that one day of unemployment qualified him to inspire others about turning termination into triumph, sharing wisdom about overcoming job loss while actively failing to overcome his own. His motivational presentations featured someone explaining career success to audiences who slowly realized their speaker had been unemployed since yesterday. 12. The Truth About Corporate America, One Receptionist's Journey revealed shocking workplace secrets like sometimes people are late to meetings, and the coffee in the break room isn't very good. Rebecca's tell-all expose about her 3 months as a receptionist was self-published and peaked at 6 sales, including 3 copies purchased by family members who felt obligated to support her literary ambitions and investigative journalism career. 13. Potential clients received consulting proposals from David explaining how companies could avoid making the same mistake his former employer had made by firing him. His business cards read Termination Prevention Specialist. Despite having no HR experience and having been fired for performance issues rather than wrongful termination. David's consulting empire consisted mainly of explaining to confused business owners why firing employees like him was poor business strategy. 14. The tent appeared on the sidewalk Monday morning with hand-painted signs explaining Angela's situation and requesting public support for her reinstatement campaign. Her unemployment camping demonstration lasted 5 days and attracted more attention from police than from her former employer. But Angela remained convinced that her dedication display would eventually result in triumphant re-employment through outdoor persistence and public pressure. 15. Every position from CEO to janitor received an application from Steve, who apparently believed that getting fired from one role qualified him for all the other jobs he'd never applied for previously. His cover letters explained how his recent termination had provided valuable perspective on company operations, making him an ideal candidate for positions requiring completely different skills, experience levels, and educational backgrounds he didn't possess. 16. When Carol got terminated, she responded by starting a social media campaign called Justice for Carol that featured daily posts about her employment situation, accompanied by photos of herself looking sad outside the office building. Her social media justice campaign attracted more attention from concerned relatives than from potential employers, and her daily documentation of unemployment became a cautionary tale about oversharing professional disappointments on platforms where future employers might be watching. 17. Gary decided that getting fired was actually an opportunity to become his former boss's life coach, since he now had valuable insights about management mistakes and personal growth opportunities. He began sending daily emails with life coaching advice, motivational quotes, and suggestions for how his former boss could become a better leader through self-reflection and improved decision-making. Gary's unsolicited life coaching career lasted until his emails were blocked, but he continued developing his coaching philosophy through LinkedIn posts that no one read. 18. When Michelle got fired, she responded by enrolling in business school to earn an MBA that would prove she was overqualified for the job she'd just lost. Her MBA strategy included writing her thesis about her former employer's management failures and using her case study as evidence that she deserved not just reinstatement, but promotion to an executive position. Michelle's graduate education cost more than 5 years of salary from her previous job, and she graduated with impressive academic credentials and continued unemployment. 19. Frank's termination response was to start a blog called Fired Frank's Daily Updates, where he documented his job search process while providing commentary about his former workplace and advice for other unemployed people. His blog featured daily posts about job applications, interview experiences, and theories about why companies make poor hiring decisions. Frank's blogging career attracted a small following of other unemployed people, but his honest documentation of repeated job rejections became more depressing than inspiring for his readers. 20. When Diane got fired, she decided to prove her value by volunteering for every charity and community organization in town, apparently believing that unpaid work would demonstrate her professional capabilities to her former employer. She became a volunteer coordinator, event planner, and fundraiser for organizations that were happy to accept free labor, but confused about why she kept mentioning her previous job during volunteer orientations. Diane's volunteer empire kept her busy but unemployed, and her former colleagues received regular updates about her charitable activities, accompanied by hints about her availability for re-employment. 21. Roger responded to his firing by immediately enrolling in every certification program related to his field, apparently believing that additional credentials would compensate for whatever had led to his termination. His certification collection eventually included credentials in project management, quality assurance, safety compliance, and leadership development, creating an impressive resume for someone with no current employment. Roger's certification addiction cost thousands of dollars and resulted in him becoming the most credentialed unemployed person in his industry. 22. When Brenda got terminated, she decided to start a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping other fired employees, despite having no experience with nonprofit management and having been unemployed for approximately 6 hours. Her organization, Second Chances for Terminated Workers, consisted mainly of Brenda offering emotional support and job search advice to other unemployed people while learning about nonprofit regulations and tax exemption requirements. Brenda's charitable organization helped several people find new jobs while she remained unemployed, and learned that running a nonprofit was more complicated than being fired from a for-profit company. 23. Harold's firing response was to immediately start a podcast called The Terminated Employee Show, where he interviewed other fired employees about their experiences and provided commentary about workplace injustice. His podcast featured guests who were equally bitter about their employment situations, creating an audio experience that was more therapeutic for the host than entertaining for listeners. Harold's podcasting career attracted dozens of listeners and provided cathartic value for unemployed people looking for validation of their workplace grievances. 24. When Judith got fired, she responded by enrolling in graduate school to become a therapist specializing in workplace trauma, apparently believing that her recent termination qualified her to counsel other people about employment-related stress. Her therapy career plan included using her own firing experience as case study material and offering specialized counseling for other terminated employees. Judith's graduate program took 4 years and left her with student loan debt, advanced degrees in psychology, and continued unemployment in her original field. 25. Ernest decided that getting fired was actually a sign that he should become an entrepreneur, so he immediately started 17 different small businesses, ranging from dog walking to freelance consulting to homemade soap sales. His entrepreneurial empire included ventures he knew nothing about, markets he'd never researched, and business plans he'd developed during his first week of unemployment. Ernest's multiple business strategy resulted in him becoming self-employed in several fields, where he earned less money than unemployment benefits would have provided. 6. When Gloria got terminated, she responded by writing a musical about her workplace experience and performing it for anyone willing to listen to songs about office politics and employment law. Her musical, Fired the Musical, featured original compositions with titles like The Termination Tango and Unemployment Blues, and she performed excerpts at open mic nights while explaining the real-life inspiration for her artistic work. Gloria's musical theater career peaked when she performed her entire show for her former co-workers at a coffee shop, creating an audience experience that was more uncomfortable than entertaining. 27. Vincent's firing response was to immediately apply to law school, convinced that becoming a lawyer would enable him to sue his way back to employment while building a career fighting workplace injustice. His legal education strategy included specializing in employment law, writing law review articles about his own case, and planning to represent himself in ongoing litigation against his former employer. Vincent's law school career lasted 2 semesters before he discovered that legal education was more difficult than legal vengeance. And his academic performance suggested that his career change was motivated more by anger than aptitude. 28. When Marlene got fired, she decided to prove her dedication by learning every skill mentioned in job postings for similar positions, creating a self-directed education program that included everything from advanced Excel techniques to public speaking workshops. Her skill development campaign cost more than a college semester and resulted in her becoming overqualified for entry-level positions while remaining unemployed in positions that required experience rather than just training. Marlene's educational investment demonstrated impressive commitment to professional development and complete misunderstanding of what employers actually wanted from job candidates. 29. Leonard responded to his termination by starting a consulting business focused on helping companies avoid making the same mistake his former employer had made by not appreciating his contributions. His consulting services included employee retention strategies and recognizing hidden talent. Despite Leonard having no HR experience and having been terminated for attendance problems rather than underappreciation, Leonard's consulting empire consisted mainly of him explaining to potential clients why firing employees like him was bad business practice, which proved to be a limited market for consulting services. 30. When Dolores got fired, she responded by immediately enrolling in acting classes, convinced that her termination experience had given her insights into workplace drama that would translate into theatrical talent. Her acting career plan included performing monologues about employment termination and developing a one-woman show about workplace injustice. Dolores's theatrical pursuits attracted supportive feedback from acting instructors who appreciated her emotional authenticity, while remaining confused about why all her performances were about getting fired. 31. Chester decided that getting fired was actually an opportunity to become a professional speaker about resilience and career transitions. Despite having no speaking experience and having been unemployed for less than a week, his speaking career included presentations about turning termination into triumph and finding opportunity in unemployment. Delivered to audiences who expected career advice from someone who had successfully navigated career challenges rather than someone currently experiencing them. Chester's motivational speaking attracted polite applause and suggestions that he might want to find a new job before advising others about career success. 32. When Norma got terminated, she responded by starting a catering business that specialized in comfort food for the unemployed, apparently believing that her recent firing experience qualified her to understand the dietary needs of jobless people. Her catering empire featured menu items like rejection casserole and interview anxiety appetizers, and she marketed her services to support groups and unemployment offices. Norma's culinary career lasted until health inspectors discovered that emotional qualification wasn't the same as food service certification. 33. Walter's firing response was to immediately start a nonprofit organization dedicated to workplace justice and employee rights, despite having no experience with advocacy, legal issues, or organizational management. His justice organization consisted mainly of Walter documenting his own employment situation and offering support to other terminated employees through social media groups where unemployed people shared grievances about former employers. Walter's advocacy career provided therapeutic value for fired employees while demonstrating that righteous indignation wasn't the same as effective activism. 34. When Edith got fired, she decided to prove her worth by volunteering to organize the company's holiday party, apparently believing that successful event planning would demonstrate her value and lead to reinstatement. She spent weeks planning an elaborate celebration for employees who were confused about why their former colleague was organizing parties for a company that had terminated her employment. Edith's event planning demonstrated impressive organizational skills and complete misunderstanding of professional boundaries after termination. 35. Herbert responded to his firing by immediately starting a food blog focused on budget meals for the unemployed, apparently believing that his recent termination qualified him to provide culinary advice for people experiencing financial hardship. His blog featured recipes for inexpensive meals accompanied by commentary about employment struggles and tips for maintaining morale during job searches. Herbert's food blogging attracted followers who appreciated budget-friendly recipes while remaining confused about why every post included updates about his unsuccessful job search. 36. When Gladys got terminated, she responded by enrolling in beauty school to become a hairstylist, convinced that a career change would demonstrate her resilience and provide stable employment that couldn't be taken away by corporate downsizing. Her beauty career plan included specializing in confidence-building makeovers for unemployed women and creating a salon environment that provided emotional support along with hair services. Gladys's beauty school education took 18 months and resulted in her becoming a licensed cosmetologist with student loan debt and no clients. 37. Wilbur decided that getting fired was actually an opportunity to become a life coach specializing in career transitions. Despite having no coaching experience and currently demonstrating unsuccessful career transition management in real time. His coaching business included services like finding your true calling after termination and building confidence during unemployment, delivered by someone who was actively struggling with both challenges while charging other people for solutions he hadn't found. Wilbur's coaching career attracted clients who needed career advice from someone who had successfully navigated career challenges rather than someone currently failing to do so. 38. When Bernice got fired, she responded by starting a greeting card company that specialized in sympathy cards for employment loss, apparently believing that her recent termination experience had revealed a gap in the condolence card market. Her greeting card empire featured messages like, "Sorry for your job loss," and "Thinking of you during this difficult employment transition," targeted at people experiencing workplace disappointment. Bernice's card company attracted orders from well-meaning relatives, but failed to capture the broader market for employment sympathy products. 39. Eugene's firing response was to immediately enroll in culinary school, convinced that becoming a chef would provide creative fulfillment and job security that corporate employment couldn't offer. His culinary career plan included opening a restaurant that specialized in comfort food for career disappointment and creating a dining experience that provided emotional support along with meals. Eugene's culinary education took 2 years and resulted in him becoming a trained chef with student loan debt, no restaurant experience, and continued unemployment in both his original field and his new culinary career. 40. When Meredith got terminated, she decided to prove her marketing skills by starting a social media campaign to promote herself as a freelance marketing specialist available for immediate hire, apparently believing that aggressive self-promotion would demonstrate her professional capabilities. Her marketing campaign included daily LinkedIn posts about her availability, Twitter updates about her job search progress, and Instagram stories featuring motivational quotes about career resilience. Meredith's self-marketing attracted attention from recruiters who were impressed by her persistence and concerned about her judgment regarding appropriate professional communication. 41. Clarence responded to his firing by immediately starting a furniture refinishing business, convinced that working with his hands would provide therapeutic value and entrepreneurial independence that corporate employment couldn't offer. His furniture business included specializing in restoration projects for people rebuilding their lives and marketing his services to other people experiencing life transitions. Clarence's refinishing career required skills he didn't possess, equipment he couldn't afford, and customers who needed furniture repair rather than life coaching from someone experiencing his own major life transition. 42. When Phyllis got fired, she decided to become a professional organizer who specialized in organizing your life after job loss, apparently believing that her recent termination experience qualified her to help other people manage life transitions. Her organizing business included services like decluttering your career goals and organizing your job search strategy, delivered by someone who was actively struggling with both organizational challenges while charging other people for solutions she was learning through trial and error. 43. Mortimer's firing response was to start a delivery service that specialized in emergency supplies for newly unemployed people, apparently believing that his recent termination had revealed a market for unemployment care packages. His delivery service included packages with items like resume paper, interview outfits, and comfort food, targeted at people experiencing sudden job loss. Mortimer's delivery business attracted orders from sympathetic relatives but failed to scale beyond providing care packages for unemployed people who mainly needed employment rather than themed gift baskets. 44. When Constance got terminated, she responded by enrolling in massage therapy school, convinced that providing therapeutic services would offer career satisfaction and help other people manage stress while she processed her own employment disappointment. Her massage therapy career plan included specializing in stress relief for workplace trauma and creating a practice that provided emotional support along with physical therapy. Constance's massage education took 8 months and resulted in her becoming a licensed massage therapist with student loan debt and no established client base. 45. And finally, there's Archibald, who responded to getting fired by deciding that unemployment was actually an opportunity to become a full-time professional job seeker, who would document his search process and monetize his experience through consulting, speaking, blogging, podcasting, and coaching other unemployed people. Archibald created a comprehensive media empire around his unemployment, including a blog called The Professional Job Seeker, a podcast called Unemployment Chronicles, a YouTube channel featuring job search tips, a consulting business for other job seekers, and speaking engagements about turning unemployment into opportunity. His unemployment media empire generated dozens of followers, minimal revenue, and maximum documentation of his continued failure to find actual employment. Archibald became professionally unemployed, earning small amounts of money teaching other people how to look for jobs, while demonstrating through his own experience that professional job seeking wasn't actually a sustainable career path. His unemployment empire collapsed when he realized he'd spent more time creating content about looking for work than actually looking for work, and his media following consisted mainly of other unemployed people who needed jobs rather than job search entertainment. Here's the thing about getting fired. It's supposed to be a temporary setback, not a career change into professional unemployment. These people proved that sometimes the worst response to losing a job is turning job loss into your new full-time occupation. The most successful response to getting fired? Getting hired somewhere else. Everything else is just expensive procrastination with business cards. Subscribe if you prefer learning from other people's mistakes rather than making your own unemployment a performance art project.